Hey, everybody, we have a very special episode today. We're going to be talking about things you shouldn't be saying to a priest.
That's right. If you're a Catholic and you say one of these things to the priest is going to look at you and be like, you should not have said that.
I've been waiting for this show for a long time. Let's get started.
All right. Well, you know, I'm not a priest, but I can definitely come up with some things here.
Right.
I don't know if this is like a round robin or what, but it's definitely going to be nice to have your input. On some of these things.
Absolutely.
You know, we might want to start out with you, you know, just to kind of gauge where you're at, because I've got some things that might.
He's got a lot of problems with you people.
Yeah.
Well,
you
all right, I'll start. I will start.
All right.
And I'm going to start by saying, if you're on YouTube right now, you have better clicked the subscribe button already. You better give us a thumbs up and share the show on all of our social media platforms at Catholic Talk Show, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Big shout out to our patrons. And as we get started, this is the thing you should never say to a priest. Two things. Father, it's too cold in the church. Or Father, it's too hot.
Oh.
So where does your church trend? Do you get more? It's too
where are
cold
you
or too
on the
hot?
temperature
Both,
range?
bro. Any church that I've ever been in, so many people come up. Father, it's too cold. Father, it's too hot.
You can't do it.
I can't do it, man. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Dude, you're wearing like 9 pounds of vestments.
Exactly.
Let's take a step back here. Just a second. Let's not get all wound up out
All
of
right,
it.
man. This is
Jump.
going to be
All
like
right.
a therapy session.
Here's the deal. All right. So, all right. So, I think a lot of people look at a priest, and what they see is not really in reality who the priest is in the parish, right? Like, you know, like you don't know there's no paper towels in the bathroom, right? Unless you use it, and then you go change it out if you don't have somebody to do it.
For example.
Oh, no. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right,
We're just
I'll hold
trying
this
to
one
get
to
straight
myself.
with everybody
All right.
here. And a lot of people, when they look at a priest, they see someone that they can approach with a lot of different things that are, I would say, inappropriate. That, you know, you can't do everything. And I say this as a CEO too.
Thank you,
It's
Ryan.
like I get calls and stuff from people, and I'm just
Thank you, Ryan.
I'm like, get that? No. So we thank you for your service to the church. Your first priority is to be present when the sacraments of Christ and his church are needed for his people.
All the stress is leaving me right now, Ryan.
That's your job. Do
Yes.
your job. Your job is to provide Jesus Christ to the people that God calls you to serve, and sometimes he sends you to these people.
That's what I got ordained for.
Right?
That being said, I was at the church today, right?
Yeah.
And it was hot in there, and there's no paper towels in the bathroom. Okay.
All right, I just wanted to preface that because, you know, there are certain things that are out of character for some people because they don't realize that your main job is to be present for our Lord to send you to places to give himself to the people that you've been called to serve.
Soap in the bathroom.
Do you hear that one a lot?
See, what had happened was...
It's
So
not
here's
foam.
the-
You took
here's
the
the
foam
backstory.
out? Did you take the foam out?
No, see, what happened was the soap that we had bought was cheap, okay? And I thank God for my finance office who does some purchasing because they're great at it.
Is
they
it like
save me some money.
Ajax, like the
But bro,
powder?
it's like so watery. It was really, really watery. And like people were getting aggravated with it, but not saying anything to anybody. So it was just letting weeks would go by. And then finally it was like, the soap in the bathroom's just, it was like with animus.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me go check out the
Snapped.
soap. And sure enough, I'm like, this stuff is terrible.
Okay, so that raises a question. This is weeks after, right?
Yes, weeks after.
Are you not washing your hands?
COVID, man.
Could you pass me some hand sanitizer, Ryan?
I mean, how do you go weeks without washing your hands?
I
at
don't
church?
really go into the bathrooms that are next to the church. I go into like the private office
He goes
bathrooms.
into the priest bathroom, right?
It's just like when I was in high school, before a basketball game, we used to go into the faculty bathrooms.
Yeah.
Shout out Don Raby.
All right.
All right, so we got soap,
And temperature control.
And temperature control.
temperature
Drive me
control.
nuts.
It's a big deal.
Oh, buddy, it's always. I mean, especially the temperature control. Soap comes and like whatever. That happened recently, but temperature throughout every single parish I've ever been in.
How about, and I'm not going to say it because I really haven't properly formed the idea, but how about somebody, a lot of our commenters are like, you guys are laughing and the world's burning. Like,
been
where
told-
do you stand on this?
We've been told
do you
that
get
we're
some of
going to
those?
hell.
Do you get some of those?
So
Like,
yeah,
hey,
Father,
which one are you?
who did you vote for?
Yeah.
You should not ask a priest who he voted for or who at all.
It has become a political mania.
Yeah. They're really good at dividing people.
So good at dividing people.
Yeah.
And in a partisan world, there is no room for Christ.
Yeah.
And he's continuing to get pushed out. So it's like, for me, it's like I will not use the pulpit
Yeah.
as a place to promote political partisanship.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
The church is an instrument of unity and salvation among all people.
Mm-hmm.
And the responsibility of proclaiming the truth is not partisan,
Right.
So nonetheless, I mean, like that happens, especially now.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens all the time, man. And then when
What's
a
your
priest,
reaction? Is
well,
like,
when a priest like breaches that type of forum, they instantaneously become
Celebrity priests.
celebrity priests. Because these political parties scoop up and like we have,
wield them.
and it's just like that's not right at all.
Yeah.
Even if the effort is noble.
Sure.
Even if the effort is noble. And I'm not saying that these guys don't have noble intentions. I don't know their intentions.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like when you represent that, you represent the party's position. So no matter what, and I will get political on this for a second.
Yeah.
If I lean and I start promoting the Democratic platform, I'm going to cede my position toward abortion and a number of other things that are against Catholic teaching. If I move in the direction of the Republican Party and I just promote the Republican Party, I'm also condoning capital punishment.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sorry,
There's no one party.
No,
that's
so
Catholic,
what I'm called to do is to say that objectively speaking, abortion is wrong.
Yeah.
Objectively speaking, capital punishment is wrong.
In almost every instance.
In every instance, the dignity of the human person from conception until natural death and even in the grave bears dignity. We need to uphold that dignity and protect it as church because the world wants to deface it.
And that dignity's just been ramrodded by the partisan political media structure that we have.
Absolutely.
It's
And we are
constantly-
completely divided. And I'm sure I'll probably get, after saying that, I'm sure
right now
there'll be
there's some
got.
super Republican and some super Democrats
Coming
both
at me.
Both of them telling us we're going to hell for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And dude, like you said,
and then I'm making light of it or something,
do you know how many times we get people commenting on our videos that say we're going to hell for laughing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Dumb comment. Don't do it again.
I hope it's not Jesus commenting because we need to pay attention.
I don't think it's like Huggy Bear 28 or something. So now, all right. Now here's something else that I think you should not say to a priest, and I'm sure you get
Give
this
it to
one.
me.
And being a Florida priest, nonetheless. Hey, Father, will you marry us on the beach?
Oh, all the time.
Uh-oh.
That happens all the time.
You
let me
marry a lot of
tell you.
people on the beach?
No, I
Oh.
get asked all the time. And there's a thing called dispensation of place within the church
Sure.
that is left to the bishop's discernment, right? But it's always in a pastoral situation.
Right.
It's not like, all right, I'm going to give you dispensation of place because you want to get married at the beach.
In Cancun.
Or wherever,
Yeah.
It's important to realize, and I understand people watch movies, they sensationalize all this stuff, they get marketed to, I want to get married, it's the most romantic thing in the world. And then you take your very expensive gown out there on it just makes no sense to me. But
How many times a year do you get someone asking you to marry them on the beach?
I'm handling the situation. Well, it's not beach, but I'm handling the situation right now, and I have to handle it sensitively because these people, maybe are nominally Catholic.
They don't know.
They're growing up. They're wanting to be married, but they don't understand.
Pastorally, you're trying to shepherd them to the beauty of what the church and the sacraments are. It's
and
obvious.
the fact that they're here, and that's what I mentioned.
You
Like,
don't tell them they're
look,
stupid.
no matter what you decide, just know that I'm here, and I would love to walk with you, and I want to celebrate your joy and your relationship, and I'm happy to prepare you for marriage. Yeah. And I cannot do the wedding that you want me to, but hopefully in the process, as we work together, you could see the vision of the church and see the beauty of how your sacrament of matrimony ought to minister in the world and in the church, and why your sacrament must be celebrated and received in the church.
What's more beautiful than a church marriage? Yeah, I mean, so many people want to get married on the beach. They see it in commercials or movies, and they think it's the most romantic thing in the world. Like, oh, I'm getting married on the beach. But there's no natural beauty that compares with the beauty of sacraments. And if you want to get a beach party, have your reception on the beach. Get married on a church and then take the limo over to the beach and have a great time. That's a good compromise. And that way you have the best of both the natural beauty and the beauty of the sacraments,
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, it's a product of divorcing reality from action. And
post-sexual revolution.
Wait. What?
Sex doesn't equal bearing children.
Marriage doesn't equal commitment.
Marriage doesn't equal commitment.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We've
Marriage
divorced
is an event in your life.
Yeah, exactly. It's a one-time event.
Yeah,
and
it's
you want to throw
special.
this massive party, and I love my cousin. He came back from Iraqi freedom, and we were driving around in the car, and he said, I'm like, Jay, I just don't think this relationship's gonna work, bro. Like, he was in war, like the middle of war, coming back all crazy, and he just married a girl that was a pretty girl, and but I just knew it wasn't gonna work, and I was just like, bro, don't do it.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, Richie, it's not gonna work, but I'm just gonna still marry. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Oh my gosh.
Like, literally saying that to me, and I love him to death. Yeah. He's like such a close relative.
It's not gonna work, but let's mess around.
And he said,
"Wow,
Richie, man, like everybody's coming over the house. It's gonna
nice,
the family's coming.
Yeah,
and,
it's a party."
And he said, the priest is coming. I said, 1-800-RENT-A-PRIEST is not priest coming.
Yeah.
It's just not the case.
It's not a priest.
But it becomes so focused in the immaturity, and he was young at the time. He's grown a lot.
He was
in
probably
wisdom.
Also dealing with a lot of post-traumatic stress.
And he was just
defended
desperate.
the country.
Yeah, absolutely. He was trying to,
Give his life normalcy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all understandable, and that happens to a lot of our brothers and sisters out there. So a lot of love out to those in the military and who have kind of gone in similar fashion. But our world kind of accommodates that and gives concession for it. And it's like, you need to have this marketable experience, and then everything's going to work out well for you.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be happy.
beautiful.
Marriage is a lot longer than the 2 or 3 weeks that you get mileage out of your Instagram posts.
And it's I tell all my couples, I'm like, look, this is up to you. I had this one girl go on a rant on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then she's going through, and this costs $5,000. This costs $10,000. She goes down a whole list of everything she's paying, and then at the end, she's like, and you better believe that we got to give the priest something, money too. Oh. So then I chime in.
What do you get for a marriage? I mean, you get a
honestly,
$100.
No. I've never been descript with it. Some people have been generous. You cannot charge for a sacrament. Period. Right?
But you give a stipend. I mean, as
it's an offering. It's just an offering.
You would think that people give a stipend. It's proper to give a stipend, but not everybody
Jen
gives
and
a
I,
stipend.
when we got married, we had literally had no money. Like, we had macaroni and cheese, chicken tenders.
Yeah.
The bar was like, you had to pay for that.
Yeah.
Right? And then the most expensive thing was the cake.
Yeah.
It was like $150.
Yeah. And that's what I tell all my couples. I'm always like, look, and I chimed in on that Facebook post. I'm like, as the priest who's receiving your vows and you don't have to pay me anything. She called me immediately.
Sacraments are never
I'm
for
so
a cost,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Because social media is not a conversation. It's just spewing garbage
It is. It's spewing.
out of your freaking mouth into the computer.
But, in the sense of what we're talking with this, because I think it's an important topic, and I think we should talk about it. All my couples, I tell them, you don't have to go into this marriage spending $50,000.
They want to.
$100,000. The whole sense is the parish community that has seen you be born, baptized, receive First Holy Communion, confirmed, and you've gone through college, and you come back, and now you're getting married. This is a community event.
Yeah.
Let the community support you.
Yeah.
Have your wedding in the church. Have your reception in the hall.
Yeah.
Don't spend all of this money.
Yeah. Make a
I
down
don't want
payment
any
on
of
the
my kids,
house.
at least in my parish, and I know it's not in everybody's parish. You need to pay your bills. But when it comes to my kids that are going off and getting married, come home.
Yeah.
Come to your church. Let us celebrate you. Let us get you on a good footing for, the first years of your marriage. First 5 years of marriage, divorce rate is massive. Massive. Let's kind of support you financially, give you gifts. You don't have to spend a ton of money on your marriage. Get you in the right direction. I'm doing it with a community Chinakalo couple, in a couple of weeks. And, you don't have to spend all that money, but it's just become so
pressure.
marketed and
There's a lot of
pressured
pressure, yeah.
and all that stuff, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But to your question, exactly, it happens all the time. We can't don't ask us. We're priests in the church. We represent the community and Jesus Christ, and we want you to celebrate these milestones within the church so that you
bigger
could
than
be
how
secure.
much they're paying you.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
Way bigger.
Yeah. What about funerals? Do people ask you to have funerals on the beach? Scatter the ashes on a boat?
That happens sometimes with scattering of ashes.
And what's the deal with that? You can't do it?
No.
Yeah,
That's
no,
big.
yeah. The integrity of species, and I constantly have worked this into my repertoire of speaking quite a bit. And there's dignity in human life from conception to birth to natural death and even in the grave. There's dignity to the human person, and we need to honor and reverence that. And by sprinkling ashes, we do not create a place of memorial. We do not create a place of dignity and proper treatment for the remains of our loved ones. Yeah. That is paramount. It is one of the corporal works of mercy. We need to be able to bury the dead in the tradition of Jesus Christ. Jesus shows us the fullness of our humanity.
Buried.
He was buried in a tomb.
Yeah.
So we hallow the graves of believers in the same manner as Jesus goes before us. So, and that's the thing. And that's what also the church needs to provide in property for regions within parish boundaries. We need to provide a proper place of burial.
I love monasteries where they bury the
buddy,
dead.
that's the best.
It is so cool.
Yes.
I went to this monastery, and then you saw this very simple hill with everybody who has passed away in that monastery there, and it was the most beautiful thing. It just it's like they're still a part of the community.
Amen.
Right?
I saw this Greek Orthodox.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
exactly
a community.
I saw this Greek Orthodox monastery, and what they do is they have niches, just like they had in the catacombs, and every priest that's been there for 1,000 years is there, and they take a piece of paper, almost paper mache, and they put it on the skull, and they say, this priest, this is the years he lived and the years he was here.
Wow.
And they just have thousands of skulls. It's beautiful.
That's awesome.
But
Where is that?
I think it's Mount Athos.
Wow.
In Greece, which
Dude,
is
I would love to see that.
there's a lot of them. Now, in the ancient world, scattering the ashes of someone was the biggest insult you can give them. It's I am scattering your memory to nature.
Right.
Now, I understand the motivation of a lot of people. I understand the
He
motivation.
really liked swimming pools. So
Yeah,
we're gonna put his body in the
I
swimming
love
It's
the
all
beach. I love this.
romanticized.
It's all
It is.
romanticized and not memorialized, like you said.
But, there's great saints that were immolated in fire, and the believers would take all the ashes and keep them together, that unity of species. I understand the motivation, but, having a place where a person can be memorialized, like you said, really visited, prayed for. Very, very important.
And to realize that there are rituals in the church and in the Roman Missal and in the Roman calendar specifically for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the final resurrection. And God bless you. That was a sneeze, right?
It hurt my heart. It's like my sternum.
I don't think your heart should hurt from a sneeze. You're all right.
I'm fine. A little pressure. All right, so
Those are two very good ones.
what about baptisms in the beach? Does anybody ever ask
Do you
you
know
to do that?
that never happens?
How about this? Hey, can the godparents for my kid be these non-Catholic people that I really like?
Yes, that happens all the time. And you got to think about this, you know, and I understand it's like you have a kid.
Hey, this is my best friend.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, I understand.
He's a Baptist Luther Episcopalian, right?
Yeah, but doesn't go to church.
Right.
Yeah,
Doesn't go to church, but he's my best friend.
Exactly.
Can he be the godparent?
Yep. And that happens all the time. The whole sense is baptism. You are being initiated
to a family.
Into the church.
The mystery of Christ's death and resurrection, and you are being received into the mystical body. Yeah. So in that respect, you're being entrusted with the light. You're being chrismed and sent forth. Yeah.
How can a non-Catholic fulfill the vows that you make during a baptism?
Can't.
Your heart
you
literally
can't.
takes on the species of God's own heart in Jesus Christ. That's not like, hey, we're just going to pour some water on him and have some fun.
And it's going to be cute and we're going to take pictures. Like,
it's not a commemoration of friendship.
You uphold a responsibility before God within the church. Yeah. The church's authority and her law has superseded every single government that has come and gone and legal system that has come and gone throughout history. The church is still here. You are upholding a responsibility before that authority, whether you respect it or not. That's a big deal.
Right.
As a sovereign nation with a legal code, you are upholding the responsibility of raising this child in the practice of the faith.
That's the promise you're making of the Catholic faith.
How you can't do that if you're not living your Catholic faith. That's with marriage couples. I always encourage sponsor couples. It's not a mandatory thing, but I just say, look, in any type of profession, would you not desire to have a mentor?
Yeah.
I have so many mentors in all different facets of my life.
You're welcome.
Thank you. No, and you're absolutely
joking now.
No, but I do call you for a lot of different things.
Sure.
But you open yourself up to counsel because it's the only way that you can grow. Yeah. And it's a product of also being humbled in the fact that, like, I don't know this very well, so help me understand it better.
That's what I love about sponsoring people in RCIA.
It's the
like,
most
especially
beautiful
the hungry
thing.
people.
Yes.
You're just like, yeah, man,
You're
let's
so
go to
good at that,
adoration.
dude.
Let's go, like, you know. I usually just go to adoration.
You're so natural.
Dude,
with
Ryan
it,
is
man.
so good at that.
You are really good at that.
There's been so many times where me and Ryan have been hanging out somewhere, and we'll just meet someone, and he'll be like, hey, dude, let's go to adoration. We'll just drop what we're doing and go to adoration with these people we meet on the streets.
That's true.
Yeah, Ryan does a great job at that.
But that's the whole sense of sponsorship. Like, if you weren't living the faith, like, how are you going to sponsor somebody?
Yeah. Well, I look at sponsorship as like, hey, man, I think you're in a place where your heart's ready for me to take you to adoration.
Yeah.
Whether you're Catholic or not, I'm just like, his heart's ready. And my wife and I always have conversations about it. And I'm just like, hey, man.
But you've journeyed with people through
a lot of
RCIA
people.
and you know, from beginning to end, it's like a charism.
Dude, I'm like godfather in RCIA sponsor to like 9 people.
That's awesome.
Because they're like, but dude, we don't know any other Catholics. This is Ask Ryan, right? Because like he's the only one who's still doing this old fashioned mumbo jumbo stuff. And they're like, well, we want to get baptized. Okay, we'll just ask Ryan because he believes in that. You know, and it's number one, it's an honor, but number two, it's like I wish there's
sign.
It's a sign.
It's a sign. It's visible.
Yeah.
that they're going to come to you because you're practicing your faith.
Right.
You know.
But it's also a sign. It's like you must be pretty desperate to come to me, right?
Yeah. I
It's
go
like
through that a lot.
you couldn't find the priest said. They're like, hey, do you want to be the godfather? The priest said no to your first pick, didn't he? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, sure, let's do this.
Yeah, I you know, time and time again, these situations it's very interesting, come up over and over again, and you need a letter of good standing. You need, you know, recommendation, and it's hard for pastors, right? I get you know, requests, Father, I'm being asked to be a godparent. Well, okay, let me look at the registry, right? I have a lot of parishioners. I don't know everybody by name. I don't know if you're practicing. I don't know, you know, like I need to get better at figuring out solutions, how to best manage that process. Because I also want to encourage people, hey, let's get you more involved in your faith so that you could fulfill the vows that you're setting up for. You may be nominally Catholic, but are you really living your faith? Are you going to take this role as godparent very, very seriously? Yeah. It's a challenge for the mystical body of Christ today. It's a challenge for the church today. And we find ourselves between a rock and a hard place because we don't want to be like, no, you're not a Catholic. You're not the, and then we find ourselves doing that. And then what is that doing to people? It's pushing them away.
Yeah, you want to explain to them and
this
bring
is
them
what it
in.
is.
You're really good at that.
I hope I'm trying.
We're both very good at that. Like just drawing people into like the source of our joy, the purpose of what it is that we're doing and why it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, here's something you should never say to a priest. Father, can I come to your church barefoot?
Why would somebody say that?
Because they don't know about sock religious.
Oh my gosh.
There is no reason ever to go barefoot again because sock religious makes the absolute greatest Catholic socks that have ever been available.
Meet Thomas Aquinas.
Thomas Aquinas says it to be so. The angelic sockter.
Your reaction, that was excellent.
That was good. You blew me away, bro.
Yeah,
there you go.
That was excellent.
Yeah.
So really, Sacrilegious, they make these amazing Catholic socks, okay? They are...
And if you're Catholic, you need to wear these socks.
Seriously, these things are absolutely beautiful. They're super cool. They make great gifts. They're incredibly comfortable.
I mean, these are brand new, Fulton Sheen, Nativity. But let me just show you something real quick.
Don't ever ask a priest to show you his feet.
I'm taking my...
That's disgusting.
No, what? You took your sock off?
Actually, it's not. Is
Saint Dominic, bro.
Dude,
the
you were wearing
rosary.
Fulton Sheen the other time.
I was, but
You
today...
need to wash those, dude.
Today...
Dude, your dogs is
I'm
barking.
wearing- My dogs are barking. I love it.
Did you buy kid socks?
Saint Dominic. No,
You
man.
got little feet, man.
Bro, I've got
Look
a
at that.
size 11 and a
11?
quarter.
It looks like
What, 14?
11 and a quarter.
Oh,
Okay?
you stretch those.
I got a
out.
stain on that one.
So St. Dominic, St. Nicholas, Fulton Sheen.
I mean, there's what, dozens
We
of
got
these
the
different-
Nativity. They've got dozens
I
and
hope I
dozens.
don't get any
Kids.
comments how white my feet are. Because I've got
You're
some
pretty
white feet.
disgusting.
They've been,
Thank you,
they didn't
Ryan.
make kid socks.
You know Mike Schmitz.
Mike Schmitz has incredibly tan feet.
Yes, and nice toenails.
Yeah, it looks like George Hamilton's feet.
I don't want to know how you know that.
So if you're interested in sacrilegious socks, they really are super cool and make great gifts, great things for yourself. Go to CatholicTalkShow.com/socks and you can save 10% off right now. Sacrilegious socks are awesome. Try them out.
Now, something you should say to a priest.
What's that, Father?
Father, how do I pray?
There you go. The apostles asked that.
Yeah, man. The disciples, the apostles asked that.
Do you know who else asked that? Who? Me. How do I pray, Father? Tell me.
The #1 Catholic app in the App Store today, HALLOW.
Thanks.
Thank you for that answer.
No problem. Look,
Tell
I'm
me
trying
about-
to be the best priest I can be.
Tell me about this
And the way
HALLOW.
that I could be the best priest
Okay.
is by promoting HALLOW. Because HALLOW is an incredible application. They have so many resources. It continues to grow month by month. Their development of the contemplative and meditative way of approaching prayer is par to none. There is no app
Nothing
out there
close.
that reaches even close to what HALLOW is doing. With the rich tradition of over 2,000 years of mystics that have shared their prayer life, I mean, HALLOW is truly magnifying the work of
right.
these saints throughout every generation.
That's a great point.
Now, what are you
Ryan,
doing?
I am
now?
creating and concocting the greatest Catholic combination ever. This is the Sacrilegious app inside. No, I'm sorry. This is the HALLOW app inside Sacrilegious socks.
you can still use it?
I can still use this.
Really?
See, look at this. I'll just
Because you got greasy fingers.
Yeah.
HALLOW
It'll
app.
get smelly
HALLOW
after
Father
a
Mike
while.
Schmitz.
So this,
Look, I am no Father Mike Schmitz.
you got a better tan than Schmitz.
Do I
You
really?
also
Yeah,
have
well,
eyeballs.
Yeah. Schmitz doesn't have eyeballs, dude.
Doesn't have eyeballs in the eye.
But he has nice manicured toes.
It looks like him, though.
But you know what?
He has manicured
He
toes.
can't enjoy him because he doesn't got eyeballs to
Look
see.
at that.
Look at that.
Jonathan
Oh, that's
Rumi.
Jonathan Rumi.
He ain't got eyeballs
beautiful.
either.
Yeah, Jonathan Rumi is on there. He prays the Our Father.
In Aramaic, yeah.
He reads to you biblical stories and
Freaking cool.
I mean, yeah, it's really it's
I
amazing.
use it in the car with my kids, like just like a 10-minute daily reflection, and then we talk about it. It's just so cute to hear how God spoke to them, because that's how the Lectio Divina works. It's like God speaking to you and you responding. It's really beautiful.
And let's face it, there's a growing anxiety among people, and it's very hard for people to wind down. And they have amazing features on this application that help you wind down with different music, different reflections, and then just an evening offering to God so that you can kind of get to rest, be strengthened by God as you slumber, and rise to serve him throughout another day. Excellent application out there. Check it out if you haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah, go to CatholicTalkShow.com/hallow, HALLOW.
It's free.
It's free.
HALLOW. W.
W.
Hallow.
It is free. For
Why
like
not?
10 days, 30 days.
Yeah.
Look, try it out. What do you got
that's
to
great.
lose?
You
know?
don't-
Nah,
you don't
nothing to
really
lose
lose.
besides
Yeah.
some, lack of prayer time.
And giving it a shot, you won't regret it,
Yeah,
for sure.
so
It's like a pocket spiritual like nugget in your life.
that's right.
Everybody at my parish.
It's like having a wee little Father Rich in your pocket who's like,
wee little Father Rich.
A wee little Father Rich in your pocket.
I'm in your pocket.
Hey,
Listen to me,
Ryan,
pray.
It might to be time to pray right now.
Time to pray.
Hey, why don't you do your night offering?
All right, now we're getting into more things you shouldn't say to Father Rich.
Right.
Got a wee
Father Rich,
Rich.
get into my little sock that I keep in my pocket here and remind me when it's time to pray my Hallow app. Let me see.
You think I could fit in there?
Oh, no, try to do like a bank robber look.
I don't think
Oh man.
No, there's no
That's
way.
not gonna
Dude, you look
fit.
like Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees.
Well, a big shout out to Hallow and our wonderful supporters and sponsors of the show, Sock Religious.
Awesome.
I literally have one of these socks on my feet every day.
That's it.
Nice.
Look, if he puts them on his feet to cover up them monstrosities.
Well, I wear
Imagine what it
flip
could do
flops
for your
every
feet.
day, so
Well, look, Ryan, Religious socks look great with flip flops.
And they're great to throw at a friend.
with sandals. Look, the apostles, a lot of people think the apostles are just cruising around Jerusalem wearing sandals. No. They
wore socks.
originated the socks with sandals look.
Yes.
They did. It was St. Jude. St. Jude the Thaddeus and St. Philip.
St.
St.
Jude
Jude
the
the Thaddeus, right? There's a couple extra D's in there. They populated the look of socks with shoes. So.
it's a little dusty out there. You got to shake the dust.
Right. These socks keep them off. So,
That's right.
Father, what else should people not say to you? Father, should I ever say to you, so did you not like women or something? Or is it, like, like you,
Women wasn't your thing? Is that what it was?
was the women's not your thing? Is that why you became a priest?
Did
I
you
thought you
struggle
said-
a lot in high school to get any girlfriends?
Did a girl break up with you so you ran away to the priesthood?
Do you know that has happened?
To you?
Not to me.
Really?
No, but I
That's
know
emotionally.
I know of a
that's their way of dealing
yeah,
with it.
like and I don't.
Well, fine. If I can't have you, I'm not going to have anyone. I'm going to be a priest. Where?
That's
God, I
exactly.
love you.
I've heard guys say that, and so yeah, that actually happened to Holita. With somebody, a candidate that was pursuing.
Not too holy to someone.
No,
who-
yeah, like, Holita, yeah.
Because Father's Holita's out there like, what are you doing, Rich?
Yeah, no. So and he had the responsibility. What I would have done as well is like, dude, you need to kind of work out your prayerful discernment here. It's like you don't just run to the church and to the priesthood because you get dumped by a girl or it didn't work out for you. Like that's
Jesus ain't no rebound.
no, like yeah, unless
Jesus, no, he's not
Unless he's-
rebound.
he's the Kembe Mutombo, man.
Jesus is tearing down some boards here,
Yeah,
man.
he's
It's
tearing
like-
down some boards. So, no, you have to have a firm foundation, and it's got to be born out of a deep love for Christ
That's right.
and Christ's love for you, and that he's joining you to his celibacy and his offering. So, you can't kind of approach it like, oh, things aren't working out.
I guess I'll be a priest.
I guess I'll be a priest. It's like you're not condemned to the priesthood, bro. Like if you're approaching your vocation as a condemnation, Please save the church. You know?
Well,
but
look at like my discernment was like I'm sitting in adoration every day for like 2 years. I'm like you know, you hang out at the barbershop long enough, you should get a haircut, right? So I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go in the seminary. I want to be a priest. I want to be around church. I want to be around Jesus. I love him, you know? And then I found out like he wasn't calling me to be a priest. It was just like, hey, we could still be friends. And then well, I had some other plans for you.
And it was similar for me too. Like I was deeply in love with the mission of the priesthood.
Yeah.
I was active. I was I was at Santa Maria as a youth director. We used to play softball against the Knights of Columbus back in the day. And like visiting nursing homes, like everything a priest did in service, like, man, that's super attractive. But celibacy was a whole nother call.
Yeah.
Like I needed to heed and hear the calling to celibacy.
Unite that with Christ.
Jesus, are you calling me to celibacy? Like, that's a whole nother
Yeah, because if
level
you're
of the
not,
game.
you're going all, you know.
Yeah, like, and for me, like, my celibacy is not a result of me struggling with my sexuality.
Right,
My celibacy is not.
I mean, you're
me
pretty
struggling.
hot. You know, you're a hot priest, man.
Total waste, dude.
Yeah, what a waste.
Yeah, I mean, we get comments all the time like, he's way too hot to be a priest.
yeah.
See, but you know, someone less grounded who just wanted to become a priest after they got a breakup, they'd hit that kind of attention. They're like, because let's be honest, a lot of people give priests more attention than they would someone else.
Sure.
And then a priest starts getting that attention they never got before, and it starts putting ideas in their head.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest downfalls of our holy orders, especially the diocesan, because they're in the world more.
Yes.
And they get so much respect and so many people with power.
It's like an ultramontanism.
You know, and if you haven't felt that deep, intimate call with our Lord, like you're gonna get spread thin. With all the attention.
Yeah. So attention's a part of it, no doubt. Like that can definitely be there, but it's also, you know, challenging to be in a public position as a priest because you're also criticized as a result of your leadership. So you could even like, you can receive affirmations here or there, but sometimes you could feel very much alone and very isolated. And, you know, like if you feel in that place of isolation, man, I'm desperate for somebody to really love me.
Validate.
I'm desperate for someone to really validate me and affirm my masculinity, affirm, you know, my identity because people are misunderstanding me. People are misunderstanding my homily. And it could just be one negative comment. So in that isolation, where do you go? You know, if you don't have an avenue of taking your sufferings to Christ, guess what? You're going to.
Well, I mean, even the sufferings that you're enduring in this particular case, which is, you know, the affirmations, but also, you know, the struggle with people disagreeing, walking away, right? These are all the same struggles Jesus had.
Bingo.
I mean, like, with the download that he had, and just that sacred heart, you know, and that's just bound by the pain. I'm looking at the Sacred Heart candle from U Catholic, which is awesome, but you know, it shows like this barbed wire coming around his heart, and then this fire coming on top. You know, it's kind of like, you know, a very beautiful look at like if you're not close to Christ, you're never going to become his friend in a very deep and profound way as a priest because you're not going to be able to offer this stuff up.
It's always invitational.
Yeah.
It's always invitational to the heart of Christ. So, you know, love of the priesthood is really love of the heart of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're not developing a sense of invitation to foregoing marriage for the sake of the kingdom, being a eunuch for the sake of the kingdom, you know, that's the invitation. Like God has manifested his love in a particular way in the person of Jesus Christ in celibacy. It is a wonderful counter. It's a gift, but it is countercultural to a post-sexual revolution world.
Yeah.
And thank God for that testimony. Thank God for, you know, especially with all of this kind of sexual fluidity that we have going on right now. What's going to
Whatever
stabilize?
the heck that means.
Yeah, like
But
it's like this kind of fluid thing that can take on many different forms.
Yeah.
But what's going to stabilize it is, you know, our identity, the deepest part of who we are, and the very climactic moment of our greatest virtue is not based in sexuality.
Yeah.
It's based in self-denial
Yeah.
and offering of oneself
Yeah.
and embracing the cross. You know, like, so.
Well, it's the same way with like being a parent, you know, it's like you're a slave to the needs of, you know, your spouse, a good slave, right?
Yeah.
Like it is, you know, when you look at people that, you know, we're not as blessed or have had 2 kids and that's like their ideal perfection of a family. Like I want my life.
Yeah.
I want my life. Yes, it's filled with sacrifice. My wife's life is filled with sacrifice, but like I am so not worldly because of my family.
Yeah.
Right?
They keep you
I
grounded.
don't get bothered
Yeah.
by all this crazy stuff.
That's
I'm like
beautiful.
literally in the self-giving of being a spouse and a vocation of marriage and then being a father to children, you know? And, you know, obviously you have relationships with people and different things like that. But at the end of the day, you come home and your kids come and hug you and all those late nights that you were up with them and all the second jobs that you're taking to feed your family and all these other things. Like it's all worth it.
Yeah,
It's all worth it.
And it's
you
the
know?
same thing too for me, celibacy. You know, like I had a beautiful experience the other day where I had a really rough afternoon, terrible emails, a lot of administration, a lot of challenges. And I walked out into the church and there was 2 kids, Lydia and Claire, with their grandmother. And I'd never met these kids before. And they're new to the family formation program that we have. And they showed up an hour early for family catechesis.
Oh, cool.
And it was beautiful. Like, you know, like,
all that stuff went away.
it went away, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I said, and they're little. I'm like, Claire, I could really use your help. Claire, I could really use your help. Can you set up the name tags and the markers and everything? And then I said, you know, the feast of St. Francis of Assisi's coming up.
Yeah.
So I put the, you know, the big screen down. And I put on a cartoon of St. Francis, and they were all excited, and you know, and it's, you know, like I very rarely get to do that stuff anymore. You know, like, so it was so renewing. And then I went outside and there were other kids that showed up early and we were playing hoops outside. I was playing basketball,
You're like,
you know,
sweet.
and it was awesome, man. You know, like, so I feel you on that, where all the sacrifice is worth it for these beautiful little glimpses of, you know, moments of deep communion and fellowship.
But most importantly, it's the suffering that you unite with Christ.
It's absolutely
Right.
with Christ.
That's what
and notice,
really
like in
renews
my
it.
suffering, I was going to Christ in the chapel, and then Christ brought that family into the church, you know, and it was just an exclusive moment with Grandma.
He good.
And Greg, because Jesus is too good,
He
man.
good.
Too good.
All right, so let me throw a couple of them at you.
Yeah.
I think maybe some rapid fire things that you should never say to a priest. All right.
Yeah, we're already making him cry now.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Father, you remember my name?
Oh
Please
my
don't.
God.
Especially don't do that to me. That's just so hard.
Look, unless you know that they know your name, don't put them on the spot because they don't know your name. They see thousands of people. They might recognize you if you go semi-frequently. If you go a lot, they'll know your name.
There was one lady at my first parish. God bless her. I love her to death. She came up to me like week after week. Father, what's my name?
Just put me on the spot.
I said, she says, my name is Shirley Etzel. Shirley Etzel. I said, okay, Shirley. I said, keep on doing that to me. So she kept on every week.
Dude, that's so strange. I call
Shirley
him all the time. I'm like,
Etzel.
I am Shirley Etzel.
But, you know, that's why I will always remember Shirley Etzel.
So, yeah, don't do that to priests. It puts them on the spot.
It does.
It's
and it
not
makes us feel
personal.
really awkward.
And it makes them feel bad because they want to know your name.
It does.
How about this one? So do you think this mass is going to be wrapped up by noon because the game's on?
Nobody says that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can you maybe keep it short today, Padre?
Oh, yeah. And they know, with me, they know that that's not going to ever be the case. You know, there was a great priest, though, Father O'Flaherty, God rest his soul, from Flagler County, Flagler Beach. And he was an older Irishman, and he would say, "Hey, Jack, what's the score of the Notre Dame game?" and they would yell out the score at the back of the church. Wow. Okay, we've got to move on. All right, here we go.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, it was bad. It was
Wow.
bad. He was a big Notre Dame fan.
Obviously.
Here's something you should never say to a priest, unless it's an emergency. Anything after like 10 o'clock. Don't call your priest late.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Is at St. Elizabeth we had perpetual adoration, and but it was the Blessed Sacrament was reposed.
Right.
But people would come in the middle of the night and spend time, you know, and they would ring the bell would ding, somebody would come, open up the door, they'd come in or whatever. But invariably, like, it would always happen where somebody, you know, wouldn't show up or whatever, and then somebody would be outside, and then they would ring the emergency line. Father, I need to get into the chapel for adoration at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning.
That sounds like an administrative problem.
Yeah, it's like this is not an emergency. You know, this is not an emergency. I did it a couple of times, but afterwards it was like, you know, you guys can't do that. Like, whether it needs to be a punch code or whatever, but like, yeah, that was, you know,
That's, yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. Here's one.
Okay.
Father, your homily was a lot better than last week's.
What kind of comments do you get on your homilies that are like tough to swallow?
It's tough.
You get that?
Yeah, I do.
And they're trying to be complimentary, but they're just
Or
dogging on your other ones.
No, that, or, you know, it's always
Father, you should have
something.
said this.
That happens too.
Oh, no.
You know, where people
Why did you bring this up?
people get the impression like you're trying to or you're performing. That happens too. You know, and that's just not the case. Like, you know, like I would not be a celibate Catholic priest if I got into this to perform.
Yeah. Well, you said that plenty of times. You're like, the Eucharist, if it weren't for the Eucharist, there's no need to be a priest.
Why?
Sacraments, there's no need to be a priest.
You know, so, and, you know, like, a lot of people just aren't going to get it. You know, they're not.
Yeah. Well, what a depressing show. Things you shouldn't say to a priest.
Here's something you should never say to a priest. Father, I loved your podcast. I love your show, but you know what I didn't do? I didn't subscribe. I didn't click like. I didn't share this. I didn't go to CatholicTalkShow.com. I didn't even consider becoming a patron.
True.
I didn't visit your sponsor, Sacrilegious. I didn't go and get the HALLOW app. I didn't buy candles from You Catholic. I didn't do any of that stuff. How do you feel about that?
Don't ever let that happen.
Don't say that to Father Rich.
Don't say that to me right now.
Don't do it.
Don't even say it, okay? So this was a lot of fun. And there were some, you know, this was a very good therapy session for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, that's why we're here.
Thank you, guys.
You know, that's why the audience is here. They're all supporting you. And
I appreciate it. And that's what this is all about. I mean, really, in all honesty, I do feel the support. I think what God is doing mystically for our community at the Catholic Talk Show is just really, it's amazing. This has just been a wonderful journey, and we're continuing the journey together. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're still with us and you haven't given us a thumbs up, go ahead and give us a thumbs up.
It's free.
It's free.
It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to give a thumbs up.
Click.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week. God bless.